The person I am today is because those teachers, that I owe my gratitude to them. I never stop learning. I'm constantly learning techniques, constantly learning ways to improve my students. It is a passion that is greater than my life. The heart you gotta have in order to teach martial arts, the spirit of the art. My job is to touch as many people as possible for the time that I'm in this world, because my job is more spiritual than anything else. I build the people's spirit to encourage the recognition through the martial arts, and that's very important to me. In order to be good, to really be good, it's when you become a teacher. When you teach people, you learn a lot about life. You have to understand people so you can really help them, because martial art is not just physical, it's about overcoming with the mind. I decided to dedicate my life to give 100% to the martial arts. My name is Angel Gonzalez. I'm 62 years old. I've been teaching the martial arts for over 40 years. Let me tell you about my Jiu Jitsu journey. It all started back in 1991. I was in a seminar, giving a seminar, and then I met this gentleman, and he mentioned something about the Gracie brothers, the Gracie Jiu Jitsu. And I'm going like, never heard of them. So then I find out that we're having a seminar in Tampa. So I go to Tampa, and that's where I met Horian and Hoist Gracie. And I took the seminar, and I thought it was like very interesting, because I never done grappling arts other than judo, but not like their style of jiu-jitsu, okay? So then after that, I asked him, what can I continue learning this? And they said the only way to learn is you have to go to California. So what I did is I booked up a plane, and I went to California, and that's where I took my first jiu-jitsu lessons. It was 1991.
Plus your arms don't bend backwards to block you. You see? So how many times have I have to tell you not to cross your feet, my friend?
Did you tell me to cross my feet?
No.
You never told me that.
Don't cross your feet. Oh, I forgot this one.
Yeah, you have a chance, you push, use the, You push my head and move your hip same time, yes. And then the guy, don't give you a chance, go, move your hip. And the guy move your hurt, and then say, yes. Go for the arm, right, and then clap the arm, and then go come back for, yes. Hold my hand. Right, the other side.
That's good, that's good, that's good.
Oh, the woman's good. Come on.
After I came back from California, there in California there was Hickson, Hoyes, Hoyler, all the brothers were there. It was a tiny small school, and I just loved the jiu-jitsu, because I never done that kind of jiu-jitsu. So I came back to Miami, and I'm going, where am I going to learn this stuff? I want to continue. So I searched, nobody taught jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, or Gracie jiu-jitsu back then. And I looked, and finally I found somebody. His name was Marcos Conan Severia. He was teaching at a small little gym in downtown. So I went over there, I talked to him, and he offered me to teach me private lessons.
Okay, I'm going to show a little movie from self-defense for the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu system.
So at the time, I had my own school. I was a black belt. I was teaching karate, taekwondo, all kempo, all the striking arts, boxing, kickboxing. So then I said, I want to learn this jiu-jitsu. So I started from white belt from the beginning, and that was my introduction to jiu-jitsu. Then after that, I trained with many. I got to meet many different notables, very famous Jiu-Jitsu players from the tournaments. And in 1997, I met Helio Gracie, the founder of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I met him, I was taking lessons with one of his students, and then I took a private lesson with him, and he invited me to go to Brazil. And said, you know, Angel, I want to teach you like the details. I want to teach you about the self-defense, about the philosophy. Would you like to come down? And I said, you know what? That's a great opportunity. It's an honor for me to go over there. So I hopped on a plane, went to Brazil, and I spent a month with Grandmaster Helio Gracie, the founder of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. At the time, he was 89 years old. He's a great, great teacher. And the main thing I learned from him was the heart you gotta have in order to teach martial arts, the spirit of the art, and the discipline you gotta have, the dedication, the passion. At that time, I was a little bit, kind of burned out. I didn't have no passion for teaching. I was losing it. And then when I saw this gentleman, 89 years old, with the passion, with the love, I decided to dedicate my life to give 100% to the martial arts. And that's why I learned the philosophy and the spirit. You have to be honest, you have to be disciplined, you have to be clean, you have to be honorable. And those are the things that the martial arts has lost. The MMA is mostly like gyms, okay? The spirit of the tradition has been lost. Now, originally, Jiu-Jitsu was for self-defense. It's to defend yourself against a bigger opponent. But nowadays, people don't teach that anymore. They forgot about that. It's coming more of a sport, And I love the sport. I love all the fancy things and all the different techniques. Just like any martial art, I don't care if it's boxing, karate, jiu-jitsu. The most important thing is your base, your posture, the movement. Okay, learn how to move. In boxing is the footwork. In karate is your posture. In jiu-jitsu is movements. And that's why, after teaching thousands of students, the best way, the fastest way to teach somebody jiu-jitsu is with a ground and pound bag, and learning how to move on that bag. And once you learn how to move, okay, then it's much easier to teach jiu-jitsu to, especially kids. Most people that have jiu-jitsu schools, they have few kids. Okay, mostly adult orientated. Why? Because to teach kids is very difficult. But you know what? Through years of experience teaching kids, I found my niche, and I figured out the puzzle on how to do it. There's a lot of schools out there that are hardcore, or they teach a lot of stuff. And what happens is that the kids, or even adults, they get frustrated. Because remember what I said in the beginning, the fundamentals is the key. And if you want to be good at something, the simpler the techniques are, the more effective they are. So I know fancy techniques, but fancy techniques and the real situation, it's been proven that don't work. If you see the UFC, if you see real fighting or real combat, the simple techniques are the ones that work. And that's why my students, they learn so much faster, because it's not complicated. The approach to teaching, through years of experience, there's two approaches. There's an approach that they get you in there, throw you in there with the lions and rough you up, and believe me, you can become good, you can become tough, but the majority of your students, they quit. Because most people that come to martial arts, they're insecure, or they have confidence problems, or they're weak, or they're skinny, or they don't have strength. So if you get a person that's weak and you throw them right from the get-go, you can discourage a person that way. And they're not going to get the benefits of the art. Now, my philosophy is the best instructor is the one who gets a shy kid, insecure kid, not an athlete, and makes him tough, makes him strong, and makes him secure. That is the sign of a great teacher, okay? Not getting an athlete that's strong, that's good, and making him good. Getting somebody with no talent and building him up. And you cannot build somebody if you throw him out there hard. You have to, little by little, build the confidence, little by little, And that's why our school is so successful. Our school is successful because we have found a way to gradually build a person, to build that confidence in that kid or that human being. You see that? So there's two approaches. There's a hardcore approach, and there's our approach. And our approach, it touches more people's lives. This world we live in, okay, with all the cell phones, with all the insecurities, with all the violence, people are disconnected. And the reason why Jiu-Jitsu or martial arts, it appeals to people, especially Jiu-Jitsu, because it's a close contact sport or art. And what happens is, nowadays families are broken. Nowadays, the phone, people, they don't communicate anymore like they used to. They text each other. They don't go and knock on the door to your neighbor and say, hey, how are you? There's disconnection, and that disconnection creates a lot of insecurities. And when you go to a jiu-jitsu school, when you go and train in the martial arts, it's like a family. It's like a place where you have contact to the closest level possible, because you're grappling, you're holding each other, and what it does, it creates security. So that's why the appeal of jiu-jitsu is a lot of people like it, because they're not getting punched in the face, they're not getting kicked, but they're practicing without getting hurt. When something gets tough, they tap, and that's the end of it, and they start over again. The way martial arts affected my life was monumental. And what it did for me, what my teachers did for me, they were like my parents. They were like my mentors. They showed me the way. They showed me the right way to live. They showed me the right way to act. Okay? And I'm indebted to them for the rest of my life. There's no money in the world that I can pay to them to make it right, because what they did to me is they built my spirit. The person I am today is because those teachers, okay, that I owe my gratitude to them. A lot of people come here, the parents always tell me, I chose your school because of those principles, those things you have up there on the wall. Okay, I like what you say. I like the way you think. I like those principles. I want my son to learn those principles. I want my daughter to be honest. I wanted to learn about honesty. I wanted to learn about these things. Yes, I wanted to learn martial arts, but also it's very important that they learn the principles. And the principles, there's 7 principles. It's very simple. These principles were created by the samurai back in the day. The samurai lived and died by those principles. There's 7 of them. And I have it written on my wall. And I try every class, at the end of the class, talk about the principles. Because that's important for kids to grow up. They grow up with good principles, they're going to be good human beings. And the most important thing is to be good in this world. Because there's good and there's bad. There's the dark side, there's the side that has the light. And you want to always be with the light. You always want to be good, not bad. Because bad has repercussions. Bad has karma. And you don't want to do it. You always want to do good in life. You want to be good to people. You want to be a good citizen, a good neighbor, a good son or daughter. It's very, very important. A lot of people in this country, in the world, all they think is they think success is money, 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 and they do things that are improper. They lose their honor, And one of the things that I try to emphasize in my staff, you have to have honor. You have to live with honor and integrity. Well, if you ain't got that, you're not worth nothing in this world. That is the most important thing. That the martial arts, honor, loyalty, respect, so important that they don't teach that in school anymore. It's lost. Okay? And unfortunately, that's why we have so much problems in this world. So much because people don't conduct themselves with honor, with loyalty. Loyalty to me, to me, is one of the most important. It is the most important thing because there's no loyalty, there's no trust. Okay? You have to be loyal. You have to never forget your teacher. You have to never forget your parents. Your parents, your mother and your father. No matter what, if they've been good or bad, okay, you have to respect them because they gave you your life. And your teacher, no matter what, he spent his time, his energy, his love, his heart into what he's doing. So you must respect your teacher, respect your parents, and also your friends. And be a good friend. And be a friend. Don't say I'm a friend, but be there when your friend needs you. You know, in martial arts, I know many of my peers that have schools and things, and they stop learning. In martial arts, you never stop learning. It's like constantly, you're learning all the time. But you know where you learn the most is when you teach. When you teach is when you learn the most. Because you're constantly repeating things and going over the basics on the fundamentals. And that's why Helio Gracie was so good. He was such a great teacher and great in martial arts because he used to teach 35 classes a day, 35 private lessons a day, 35 half hours. So he trained all the time. He was constantly going over the fundamentals, training, and he became legendary. His skill was unbelievable. Okay, so in order to be good, to really be good, it's when you become a teacher, when you become an instructor, when you teach people, you learn a lot about life. You learn about people, and when you learn about people, it's like to be a really good teacher, you have to be like a psychologist. You have to understand people so you can really help them. Because martial art is not just physical, it's a mental, it's about the mind. It's about overcoming with the mind. Martial arts, training martial arts is challenging and is difficult, and the job as a teacher and the job of my staff is to break it down so you can absorb the information, because it's frustrating. Some people don't have the coordination, and when you get frustrated is when you quit things or when you don't follow through with things. Okay, so we try to minimize the frustration. We try to break it down so then your learning process it's a good experience. And that's why, you know, we have so many students, because our process of learning is really, really well thought out. It took me years to figure the puzzle. Okay, years and years and years of constant dedication, constant finding out why is a student not learning, and that determination is why I figured the puzzle. Okay, and there's many people, there are young people out there that have the schools, they open the schools, and they haven't figured the puzzle. And some of them will never will. But it just takes a deep commitment, a deep, deep love for what you're doing. It's almost like a spiritual strength you gotta have in order to overcome and to get to that goal. When a student comes in, in order for the student to fall in love with the martial arts, it's about a feeling. It's about how a teacher makes a student feel. That's how you fall in love with things. So the reason why so many people fall in love with our school, with our teaching methods, is because we put the love into the teaching. We encourage them, we give recognition, we make them feel right. Okay, look, today's the day of the competition. Okay, I want you to show courage and don't give up, okay? And do your best. It doesn't matter whether you win or lose, you're already a winner. Why? Because you're here. Most kids are afraid. You're going to go out there and do your best. And you did good. Okay, you can't be afraid, you can't run away. You got to be strong and attack. Okay, and try to get the position. Try to mount them, try to set control. 1 week in the tournament team, you went there, you fought like a champ.
Oh yeah.
Okay? A little bit more training, you're going to be a champion. I predict that. Okay? Good job, give 5. Too slow. Say what you're gonna say, because that was good work.
Yeah.
You know what? It's all about love and affection. You know what I'm saying? That's what martial arts is all about. It's not about fighting. People think it's about flowing with the energy. And this little girl did it, dude. She was awesome. You know what? I'm proud of my boy here. I'm proud of you too.
Cause and
I'm
effect,
proud of both
action,
of you guys,
reaction.
man.
It's awesome.
Fight, man. Everybody.
That's the best match I've seen in years, man.
In years, man. Everybody, come to that fight, man, and say, everybody watching you guys, man. All eyes. Thank you, Bobby, man. Awesome. You did a good job, man.
That's one thing I learned. The perfect master, the perfect person that knows how to make a person feel right was Grandmaster Elliot Gracie. When you took a class with him, you felt like you were unbeatable. The way he talked to you, you're my champion. I'm so happy you came. And he was so charming that people just fell in love with the guy. The minute you meet him, 1 minute, I love the guy. Wow, why do I love this guy? Because the way he made you feel. And that's what we try to do here in our school. We try to make the person feel right. The minute they come through those doors, they feel like they're part of our family. They feel like you know what? I can trust this man. It's so important. It's the feeling of love that creates spiritual uplifting. Love is the most powerful thing there is. In order to be good in this, you have to love it so much, because it is not about teaching, it's about your legacy, it's about your impact in the world. It's about what you're gonna do, okay, when you're gone, when you're not here. What did you leave behind? What did you leave behind? And a teacher, what it can leave behind is a feeling. It's a love. It's something to say, man, I'm never gonna forget that guy. You know, like when my teacher passed away, he was 86 years old. And let me tell you something. It was horrible, because what he left behind was so wonderful. And I want to keep it alive. I want to keep it alive with my students. I want to continue that. And hopefully my students, my instructors, my staff will get that spirit and pass it on and keep it alive, because the torch, you have to keep it lit. If you let it die, it dies away. It never comes back. And that's the way I feel about martial arts. It's a deep spiritual connection. It's something that is greater than me. I'm just a human being. You know, I'm not going to be here forever.